Oh, g'day champions, it's Deja Vu plus Reverb. Got another Princeton, this time a Princeton Reverb. I think it's a 65, we'll know more once we have a look at the date codes inside the thing. This one's had some questionable mods done, so we'll run over everything that's been done. What's a Brad's Guitar Garage video without a bit of previous hackage and you know, brutality? So it's what you've come to expect on this channel, and I'm happy to serve it up. So let's get into this thing, we'll have a look and see what's involved and go from there.
Alright champions, so just a quick look at the front. She's in pretty good nick. Missing a little disc there on the intensity knob. It's copped a hit. It's gouged it up a bit there, but you know, the pot's still in good condition. Everything's still rotating free. Looks like the original jacks there. Original pilot light. Grill cloth's nice and tensioned and starting to get that yellow sort of look to it, which is kind of charming. And the hardware's got a bit of a patina. The Tolex is in pretty good condition. So overall it looks about as you'd expect for a reasonably well treated amp of this age. Let's spin it around and we'll have a look at the back. Alright, not to be a negative Nelly or anything, but I'm already seeing a few red flags. Looks like we've got the original tank bag down there, which is nice. Fender branded strap. We've got a replacement Celestion driver, so that's not original. A G1050. Some of the screws are a bit dug in because there's no cut washers, so we'll replace them. I don't think that's beyond recovering. Some cut washers on there and go again, they'll be fine. But having a look down there, they ain't 6v6s, they're 5881s, so what's going on with that? And then you've got little blobs of silicon there, but we'll have a close look in a sec. But what I see behind them is a little bit more concerning. But we'll get to that in a moment. Got the original speaker plug there, like we had on the 6G2 the other day. Well, that's a non-stock fuse holder as well, and if we've got 5881s in there, that'd be more heater current, so it's probably overrated fuse. We've got the original, looks like the original Reverb plugs there with the original cable. I don't like that cable at the best of times. It sort of corrodes over time and you can't solder to it, and it's just weak as piss. I don't like it. So I tend to replace them with some right angle switchcraft RCA plugs. They cost $1 million, but they last forever. So do they really cost $1 million if they last forever? Is it really expensive if you never have to replace them? Anyway, you don't come here for philosophical questions. So moving on, I like to use Canare, just the guitar cable, the GS6, and just keep them as short as possible. But let's get this back cover off and see what's going on with that transformer and the valves. Alright, so we've got what appears to be a Ferguson transformer. That's an Aussie brand. And two Sovtech 5881s. We've got a pine cabinet, but we've got what appears to be a chipboard baffle. Not sure if that's original. Alright, what's going on here? I spy solder blobs. Maybe that's from wiring up the speaker. Alright, have a look at these plugs. That would have been super unreliable. They're ultra loose. They're just cracked right down the guts, so they can go in the bin. Just a look at the speaker plug. Again, it's sort of got that surface corrosion on it, which appears to have broken through to the base metal in a few places, so that's not great either. You can see there where the crack just extends up the whole body of the plug, so that's no good anymore. More red flags, heavily reamed out screws. So someone's just gone with the impact driver until there's nothing left. So we might have to access that one from the nut side and replace that screw. We certainly have a nice collection of dust bunnies to clean up. And we'll give that tank a good wash and inspect the tank itself as well. Just make sure there's no broken wires or broken springs. That chassis was really hard to get out because all that Tolex was bunched up behind it. So I'll have to contact glue that back down before we reinsert it on the front as well. Alrighty, we've got a Ferguson PF151. I believe that's Ferguson. I don't think it's A&R. No brand name, but it looks like a Ferguson. It's an Aussie brand. To you Yanks, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. A missing rectifier valve. We've got one of the ground wires there, factory one, cut off. So probably soldered to the inside instead. We've got two 5881s, as you see. And someone's tried to like valve retainer, you know, in a tube. Alright, so this doesn't bode well for what we might find inside. If the tech's willing to do this, then what else have they done that's ridiculous? So, because this was reported as functioning, I dare say someone's made it solid state rectified. And possibly replace the transformer to deal with the higher current of these things. So current wise it might be fine, but it ain't a Princeton Reverb, is it? This customer would like it made as close to stock as possible so it's representative of a Princeton Reverb, and at the moment it's certainly not that. And here we've got the original Astron 4 section 20 microfarad 450 volt, and we've got the original output transformer there. Looking at the valve complement, we've got 12AX7 from Tungsol. We've got a 12AT7 reverb driver from Tungsol. We've got Tungsol all around, 12AX7 and 12AX7. So hopefully all of them are good. Leave them out for now. I'll put them back in. We'll fire it up and take some measurements at see what the hell condition it's running in at the moment. At least we've got a point of reference then. But we've got all the covers, which is something. Next, let's just have a look at the fuse rating. Not that it means much at the moment with everything all a bit funky. It's a greasy residue. It's covered in oil. Why is the fuse cover covered in oil? And you'll notice the fuse didn't come out with it there either, which means that that fuse holder's not compliant either, because now you could leave it plugged in and the musician goes in to fetch the fuse while it's plugged in and gets a shock. The fuse is covered in oil as well, and it's a 2 amp. Doesn't say what speed, so generally that means fast blow. Alright, let's turn this mambo jambo over and have a look at the horrors within. Alright, starting up the power end. They're not backup diodes, they're actually the rectifiers. So there's our hole for our stock transformer. We've got those hardware store square nuts there. We've got everywhere we look, champions. This is what I didn't want to do to the 6G2, but someone else has found it, you know, more than adequate for this amp. So everywhere I look, God, you don't understand how much this makes my eye twitch. So, alright, your stock cap fails, so instead of removing it, you just parallel new caps across the old cap and leave it in circuit. How dumb are you? Very. God. We've got... What is going on here? Wait, let my mind compute this for a second. Okay, sorry, I got confused there for a moment. So those two contacts are either throw and the actual pole is down underneath there. I was thinking that that was the pole over there and they're the either throw, and you're just switching the mains directly, shorting out neutral to active. Don't get me wrong, this is still dumb. Like, there's no need to have that connect there when you can just connect it straight here. Why connect it to a switch and then connect the wire from the switch to the fuse tip? But not only that, fuse tip to neutral? No, fuse tip's supposed to be to active. So it goes active to the switch, to the transformer, back from the transformer to the fuse ring, fuse tip to neutral. So that means that fuse ring would be live at active. So this is dangerous, non-compliant and illegal. And whoever did it is a hack. Now every single job seems to be like this, and it really pisses me off. This is people's lives at stake. You've got bare wires going over the sharp chassis down there. This is reportedly a reputable tech in Sydney. Well, they're not reputable anymore. Stop doing what you're doing. Put your tools down. Go and retire if you don't care. You recognise your own work. You know you did this. Stop doing it. So all of this is going to get ripped out. We're getting rid of the solid state rectification. We're getting rid of this transformer. We're getting rid of all this bullshit. We're disconnecting the cap on the chassis down there. We're getting rid of this dumb shit. We're wiring the mains safely. We're going to actually put the correct rated fuse in there, which should be about 0.5 amp. With the stock transformer anyway, that is. Where's the earth lead going? This will be funny. So the earth lead for the mains cord, the fucking mains cord, is attached to the cathode of one of the output valves. Bravo, dickhead. Bravo. So they've done all this bullshit. They haven't replaced any of the caps up the front end. You've still got the stock bypass caps, so they'd be drier than a dead dingo's donger. Oh, you got 2 replaced ones there. That's fantastic. It's another one of those blokes that likes charging a bench fee every time a single component fails instead of doing any preventative maintenance at all or using their brain cell that they've got left. You've got X2 class caps there instead of the stock ceramics. That was probably changed on a whim because they couldn't figure something out. When you see all this dumb shit, everything else is suspect. If you see any other work having been done, it's suspect, because if they're dumb enough to do this shit, they're dumb enough to do anything. Sorry guys, this just makes me really angry. I try not to be ranty these days, but this stuff is life-threatening and just no respect at all for your customers. You see them as a little cash cow that walks in and you don't respect them. Get some fucking respect for yourself and your customers, or give up the game, son. Stop it. Alright champions, I'm calming down. So the bias supply looks original, other than the resistor to ground there forming the divider, so they've tweaked the bias at least to suit the 6L6s. However, who knows what they're biased at. Let's measure it though. I'm going to fire it up and take some measurements and just initially make sure nothing's a danger to itself before we give it power. A little blob of silicon floating around down there, stock bias diode. We've got the brass plate in this one with the customary green fluid of whatever they tried to spray the pots with. These techs, I don't think they have a nozzle on their spray gun. They just go and just spray the whole area and just let it go all over the chassis because they're fucking idiots. But anyway, so let's get into this. I'm not going to film everything on this one, just partially because I got the shits at it. I'll show it to you once it's all ripped down, and then show it to you once it's built up, and we'll squash this down to a 2-parter. So let me go and take a Xanax and get to work. I mean, even simple stuff like this, it's so easy to get right. Not like, it just pisses me off. Like, you got that one all the way out, that one halfway in, that one all the way in, that one all the way out. Like, just get them the same. It's not fucking rocket science, is it? When you look at the inside, it's plain to see why. They've got 1 lock washer on that one, 2 lock washers, and like a eyelet on that one. That one's just got a nut, not even the right size. It's just a bloody spacer. Like, oh, where on earth would you find toothwashers? It's mission impossible. They just don't exist. They don't exist. I guess I'll just use a fucking nut that I've got floating around. Well, at least they disconnected the courtesy outlet. It's not much use at 240 volts. You blow the shit out of something plugging it into that. Alright, so just to look at a few of the date codes. We've got 64 there on the Mallory's. What have we got on this one? Is that another? That's another 64. Another 64. So this is a 64 to 65. Down there we've got 65. So we're looking at start of 65. So a quick look at the foot switch. It's actually reasonably supple. I don't know if it's original, because most of them at this age, they've gone stiff as a wedding prick. It's got the cheapest RCA connector known to man on it, so I don't think that's of any use. And the reverb one is cut off, so that would only work for the trem. Looking at the bottom, it's lost its cover. I don't think you can buy those covers by themselves, so I'll probably just tell the customer, look, let's just get a new foot pedal, eh? And it's got a broken wire there anyway. Broken insulation anyway. We could re-terminate it and put a bit of plastic on the bottom and just wrap duct tape around it or something, but I don't know. If you're going to do it whole hog, eh? Make it nice. Make it something that's pretty and how it should be. Alrighty, champions. So it's relatively stable, somewhat imbalanced, however. We've got 170 ohms on this side and 146 ohms on this side, so don't let that massive imbalance there blow your top. We're running about 63% on this side and 49% on that side. And 316 is the B+, so very low voltage, high cunt. So the transformer appears to be a pretty high current, relatively low voltage transformer. But it is biasing in the range that the output stage would be functioning okay-ish. The plate impedances would be quite a bit off. It's expecting to see 6v6s and it's seeing 5881s. Now I guess theoretically you could run the thing like this in the long term. I'd have to look up the heater capability of this transformer and just make sure everything else is in spec. But I talked to the customer about it, and he wants it to be representative of the year that it was made. These things are shooting up in value, so it makes sense to keep them as close as you can to being representative of how they were built, and that is kind of the mission in this circumstance. Since the B Plus is so low, and we've got what appear to be stock dropper resistor values, we'll just check the plate voltage on the front end. About the 140, 150 mark. About the 140 mark. 135, 136. So 128. So we've got our voltages are quite low in the front end. So it will have an effect on the tone and the gain as well. Anyway, I just wanted to take some measurements, write them down so we've got a reference of where it was at. And we can compare it later on. But let's rip and tear, champions. I'll talk to you once I've taken out my aggressions on this thing. Alright, for shits and giggles and I don't know what else, we've just got it under load here. Let's see what the big beefed up output stage can produce, you know. All these hot rodded amps. 9.5 volts RMS into 8 ohms. So that is 11.2, 11.3 watts. About the same as a stock fucking Princeton Reverb. I don't know. I don't know, champions. Maybe they went to the Lazy J school of hot rodding. At least this one hasn't caught fire. So all that effort, just to have about the same output as a stock Princeton Reverb. I wonder what the motive was. Maybe they just couldn't get their hands on a transformer at the time, or maybe they just had one floating around and just plopped it in. You never know if the customer really clamped them down on price, so they just did what they could to get them out the door. But I'd rather not take the job at all in that case, instead of doing all this shit. You can see down there the insulation on the power transformer rubbing on the unprotected steel there, so that's not good at all. And this is that weird thin spaghetti tubing that's not very strong even in the best of circumstances. So that's not on at all. Well, none of this is on. It's all a moot point. Let's just rip and tear and take it all out, and I'll stop complaining, I promise. Alright, champions, so we've removed pretty much everything we're going to remove, cleaned up almost everything, solder joint wise and component wise. I've taken the brass plate out in the front to get rid of all that shmoo, whatever cleaning fluid they used. It started to go green, so that indicates like copper corrosion. I've removed the transformer. But just one thing I noticed, which I'll get to in a bit, was we're going to have to rethink how we mount the capacitors, because there's no two spare holes like there normally is. But you know, there's many ways to skin a cat, and we'll find a way. So first, I think I'll get on cleaning this this green oil shit off the front of the chassis and off this thing, and just make sure that we've got a good grounding connection there, because that's critical. And I don't know what this stuff is, but there's a shit ton of it. And when you spray a pot, you're supposed to have like a little nozzle like that, so you can deliver it right into the guts of the pot and it doesn't go out anywhere. And I still put a rag around the pot when I do it, just in case that some excess does come out. You soak it up, whereas these people just appear to just spray like without even a nozzle. They just spray the whole area, and you end up with this shit here. So we'll clean it all up. That's what I say. I'm a glorified janitor here. Spend most of my time cleaning up other people's incompetence.